Menards. So we'll get this thing hauled over there. We're gonna get the other motor warmed up, drain the oil out of it. This motor does not come with oil, so make sure you bring oil with you when you go to change it, because there's nothing in there. Basically, we've got to strip all this off, all over in here, the end plate, take the fan blade off, the muffler. I tend to keep me a little dedicated toolbox for this. See right here? I can't stress enough, either use earplugs or something, but after a while, it doesn't seem loud at first, but this will cause your ears to end up ringing later and get tinnitus, which is untreatable. That's something that I'm now dealing with. Don't know if it's from this or not, but I don't take a chance anymore. As I said, the motor's screwed. I don't want to get it too hot because I got to take the muffler and stuff off. You can see metal shavings in that right there. This is why we don't try to fix this stuff in the field. It's not worth it. So far, we've got it disassembled. We went ahead and put one of the bolts back in there to hold the lid so it doesn't fall down. We got the oil drained out. The book's got everything piece by piece in there. If you're not a Generac serviced authorized dealer, you shouldn't even be doing this. So don't even attempt this if you're not one of those. I don't want any responsibility for you hurting yourselves. There's my disclaimer for today. You got a honking bolt there like that one right there. Don't lose that. That's where you're gonna need your puller on the end of that. I picked up a cheap one from Harbor Freight. That was easy. Got our slip rings here. Make sure you pay attention to that. Positive and negative makes a difference. Got to take these two screws out right in here. If you don't, you'll snap those off your brushes. Now, speaking of slip rings, when it gets super cold out on these older ones, sometimes those will freeze into place and they'll not make contact with the rotor. And then next thing you know, it won't produce voltage and it goes out on under voltage. Now, this is something you're definitely going to do by hand. Otherwise, you do it by your drill or something with your adapter. You'll possibly snap them bolts off. The way I got into generators originally was I was bored with just doing old heating and air conditioning. And I thought, hey, that's kind of cool. Something new without having to leave the field. So we did a lot where I was at before. We don't do a bunch of them here. And like I said, you snooze, you lose, you tend to forget. And although, you know, you got to go through the school every 2 years, which is kind of a crock because they really haven't changed the design much. The only thing they've changed is their electronics more than anything, and they've changed the rotors just a touch. But those are your brushes right there. That's how it transfers the DC voltage. It spins, creates a magnetic field, catches the flux lines on the outside. You have voltage. Basically, you got to put a bolt, got to screw this in there. This is that same bolt that you had before. Basically this one right here, but it's been cut off. If you notice, it's been cut off. Well, this piece right here has got a thread right there. So you're going to thread this thing in first. You've taken your hacksaw, you've put a hack in the end of it. So that goes in there. Take your screwdriver, you screw this thing in. Now you're going to use your metric bolt that you've got special. Yep, there it is. I had to pick this up at like Menards or Lowe's or something like that. And then you're going to tighten that dog up. So you can do that with a crescent wrench or whatever. Okay, this little crappy toolkit here is from Harbor Freight. It's metric. Once again, like I said, we just don't use this stuff enough to really justify a high dollar set. And so that just goes on there like that. And that right there is a 19 millimeter. I'm going to put my backup wrench here. So we'll get onto a spot here that's not going to touch anything. That way any gouges don't really hurt anything. This thing will pop. Boom, baby. That scares the piss out of you. Back that puppy out of there. Cha-bang. And then your stator and rotor are all going to come off. Hopefully it didn't screw my thing up too badly. Now you can pull that back out unthreaded, or you can leave it on there and kind of use it as a guide as you're pulling the motor out. Just kind of got to be easy with her. I have a dead blow hammer, which is not on my truck, I see. So, and then this is where a block of wood comes in handy. See, there we go, it's coming apart. Boom. But there's your motor. You can see right in the center there. That's your spindle, and basically that comes out. So at this point here, I'm just going to pull this off to the side, get it out of my way. I'm not going to go taking things apart any more than what I need to. You can mark this with your marker pen. That way everything's lined back up. Makes it a little bit easier. All right, got our uni strut here. It's just a standard piece. That's going to help lift the weight of the rotor up and kind of help us to maneuver it so that we can get things in and out of the way. Just basically kind of got to be careful because your leads are right there on the end. Don't want to rip those completely out.